Is the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, the Attorney General Honorable Levi Peter, Prime Minister Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Missy Henderson, Chief Personnel Officer, other senior government officials, members of the media who are here with us this afternoon, our listeners and viewers, and the general public listening to this live press conference. Let me welcome you again to another edition of our press conference by the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. This is part of the Prime Minister and government's commitment to remain engaged with the media and with the general public on matters of national interest. At this time, I invite the Honorable Prime Minister to address you.
Good afternoon, everyone, the media and the Attorney General and others. Important developments and to give the press an opportunity to address the issues of the day. And now that I have returned to the state from vacation, I want to bring you up to date on some key matters and also hear from your questions. I would like to begin on a somber note and to extend my deepest condolences to the families of the two young people from my constituency who tragically lost their lives in a motor vehicle accident some 2 weeks ago. Nadia Paul and Davis Masler were both hardworking, promising members of our community whose lives were cut short far too soon. As I've done privately, I now publicly express my solidarity and support and prayers for their grieving families. I also wish a full and speedy recovery to the young man who was injured in the accident. I also take this opportunity to congratulate Miss Trinise Hamilton, who captured the gold medal at the recently held Junior Pan Am Games in Paraguay. This was Dominica's first ever gold medal at the Games, and we commend Ms. Hamilton on this remarkable achievement. The government will support her continued growth and development as an athlete and will work closely with the relevant sporting authorities to ensure she has the opportunities and resources needed to excel even further on the international stage. The Dominica Under-19 14 girls national team were also finalists in the Caribbean Football Union Girls Under-14 Challenge Series held in Trinidad and Tobago. The young team displayed exceptional talent, discipline, and determination throughout the tournament, and we warmly congratulate them on their outstanding performance. I wish to inform the nation on Friday, August 29, 2025, the Governor of Dominica will present to Parliament a bill to amend the Registration of Electors Act. This follows a request from the Electoral Commission for additional time to commence the voter confirmation process. The Commission, in writing to the government on August 21, 2025, indicated that 1st September is not feasible to commence this important exercise and therefore sought an extension. For clarity, SRO number 16 of 2025 declared the period 1st September 2025 to 31st August 2026 as the confirmation period for the registration of electors under the Registration of Electors Act 2025. According to the Commission, an adjustment of the confirmation period is necessary to allow for installation of critical equipment, modifications to the software specifications, amendments to the governing regulations, and the recruitment of employees required for the confirmation process. I should stress that I have been advised that equipment required for the confirmation process has been delivered to the electoral office and confirmation centers have also been identified. The Commission is currently installing the equipment and finalizing staffing arrangements and training. The regulations have been amended and gazetted, and all necessary forms have been printed to facilitate the process. The Commission has advised that the extension will allow for the resolution of outstanding operational challenges while offering adequate time to engage the public. It will embark on a national media campaign from September 1, 2025 on the confirmation process to ensure that the electorate is well informed and prepared. Accordingly, on Friday, August 29, 2025, that is tomorrow, Parliament will meet to consider and approve the necessary measure to grant the requested extension for the formal process of confirmation of electors to begin on 1st October 2025. As you, I believe 15th October 2025. As you are all aware, this government has consistently demonstrated its commitment to electoral reform. Earlier this year, on March 19, 2024, Parliament debated and passed 3 landmark electoral reform bills with bipartisan support: the Registration of Electors Bill and Regulations, the House of Assembly Elections and Registration Bill, and the Electoral Commission Bill. Additionally, the Electoral Commission in July 2025 gazetted the Registration of Electors Regulations 2025, introducing important changes to the process of registering and confirming registration as electors in Dominica. These amendments, made by the Commission under Section 36 of the Registration of Electors Act 2025, are aimed at strengthening the integrity of the electoral system and modernizing the procedures for voter registration. One of the key measures is the implementation of a voter ID card and the tightening of identification requirements. Applicants must now present either a valid passport, a driver's license, or a Social Security registration card issued by the Dominica Social Security. In addition, every registering officer is required to capture a facial image of the applicant, which, along with the person's details and signature or mark, will be securely stored in an electronic database maintained by the Chief Elections Officer. The regulations also provide a detailed framework for confirming registration. Individuals applying to confirm their registration must complete Form 31, sign it in the presence of an enrollment officer, and have the application witnessed by a registered elector within their polling district. Citizens of Dominica must furnish a valid passport, driver's license, or Social Security card. Commonwealth citizens are required to present a valid passport, another official document confirming their nationality and identity, and an affidavit of identification. Recognizing accessibility needs, the regulations make special provisions for individuals who are physically incapacitated and unable to attend designated registration centers. In such cases, enrollment officers are mandated to visit the applicant at home to facilitate the confirmation of registration. In effect, the amendments ensure that the voter registration process is enhanced, that it will be more secure, reliable, and transparent. By introducing biometric data collection, stricter documentation requirements, and clearer procedural safeguards, we expect that the regulations will strengthen public confidence in the electoral system while safeguarding the rights of eligible electors, including those with physical limitations. This government remains committed to ensuring the successful implementation of these reforms. Though we would have wished for the confirmation process to begin without delay, we will continue to support the Electoral Commission so that Dominica's elections remain transparent, credible, and effective, and reflective, of the will of our people. So this is it on electoral reform. I also want to inform the nation that all three unions, that is the Public Service Union, the Police Welfare Association, and the Dominican Association of Teachers, have all concluded negotiations with the government of Dominica. I want to thank the union for the professional and respectful manner in which they engaged the Dominican negotiating team. I also want to thank the government's negotiating team for the respect that they've shown to the representatives of the union. But I will say, I believe on this occasion, the unions outdid the government negotiating team because the number of things that they got, they really, I think the unions came really good this time, and I want to, but it's all in good spirit in the effort to improving the condition of work and ensuring that we recognize the tremendous sacrifice and commitment of the public servants and police officers who carry the duties sometimes under trying and difficult circumstances. And of course, the Secretary of the Cabinet and the Chief Personnel Officer will share the details of this at some other time and what has been concluded. But I think it was a very well negotiated triennium, and not only in regards to the immediate, but also looking at the future, with regards to pension reform, which is so crucial to ensuring that in the sunset years of public officers and police officers, that they can certainly continue to enjoy life. And we look forward to more aggressive pension reform across the board in the public and police service. So I want to thank everyone concerned for the negotiations, and of course, the unions came on top on this time. My final point, I am pleased to announce the appointment of Her Excellency Lauren Barnes Roberts as Dominica's new High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Mrs. Barnes Roberts brings a wealth of experience and distinguished service to this important diplomatic role. From 2016 to 2022, she served as Dominica's permanent representative to the United Nations in New York, where she represented Dominica's interests at the highest levels of international diplomacy. In that capacity, she was a strong advocate for sustainable development, disaster resilience, and unique challenges of small island developing states. Her ministerial portfolios in community development, culture, gender affairs, information, tourism, industry, and private sector relations further demonstrated her depth of experience in public service and nation building. Against this background, I am confident that Mrs. Barnes Roberts will effectively represent Dominica in London. Her leadership and diplomatic skills will be critical in strengthening Dominica's long-standing relationship with the United Kingdom, advancing our foreign policy priorities, and addressing outstanding issues of importance to both our countries. On behalf of the government and people of Dominica, I extend warm congratulations to Mrs. Barnes Roberts on her new appointment and wish her every success as she assumes this important responsibility. In the interest of time, I will end here and to allow the press to pose their questions to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, for this update. At this time, as the PM has indicated, we will now move to the media to ask their questions. I see that Kala is already on his feet with the mic, so we shall start with you.
Thank you very much, Capsa. Good afternoon.
I think I will stick to the broader question that you would like to pose to me, or you're posing to me in a sense, of, I guess, the presence of the U.S. Military assets in our region. As you know, many years ago, the Community of Caribbean and Latin American countries, and also CARICOM, declared the Caribbean as a zone of peace. And we would like for this to remain a zone of peace, because any military action in the Caribbean would have serious negative impact on the way of life of every single citizen of the Caribbean and Latin America. And so we would urge caution on this, because any misunderstanding can flare up into something that none of us really want. On the issue of fighting drugs, Dominica has, and this government, has always been at the forefront of playing its part in the fight against narcotics and trafficking of arms and ammunition. And this government has been unrelenting of its efforts and joining international and regional partners in ensuring that this monster of the presence of drugs and ammunition and guns are not on our streets and in the hands of our children and our society. And so we're very firm on this. And so we would like to ensure that we continue to fight this, but we would certainly want to ensure that the Caribbean remains a zone of peace, and that we call on cooler heads to prevail, so that we can enjoy the peace and tranquility that this region has been known for. And this is our part. And of course, this is the reiteration of the CARICOM's position on this matter, as we've done in previous circumstances. But in respect to the views expressed by a government, I have never been in the business of criticizing any head of government, head of state, in stating their own position on any particular matter. In respect to the chief of police position, there is a chief of police in place, albeit the person is acting, but whether somebody is acting or substantively posted, that person has all of the authority granted to him by the Police Act to carry out his or her duties as chief of police, unfettered, uncompromising manner. When the time comes for the permanent filling of those positions, then the country will be so informed, and as we've done. But as it is now, there's nothing to be, there's no negative bearing on the security of the state by that circumstance. But I also say that I have the confidence and trust in both the acting chief and the deputy chief of police.
So are you saying that whenever that appointment comes, it will be a local?
Well, whenever that appointment comes, you will know.
There have been a clatter of talks in the public space re the incident with the police and the removal of a bench, and certain comments that have attracted a huge attention from the public. Do you care to give some insights into this development? And my next question is, there are reports that some changes as it relates to PSs are being made in some ministries. Example, tourism, where the director of the FSU has been transferred to be PS in that ministry. Can you expound on that, please? Thank you.
Regards to your first comment, I mean, whenever something happens, people will have different views expressed from different angles and different motivations and so forth. And so I'm not at liberty to engage myself in what has been said on social media, some of which I have seen. But I think it's important for us to move beyond these things, and we have other issues to deal with in the country that are more crucial to the welfare and well-being of our citizens, and not dwell on side events per se. But just to say that on this notion that there has been political interference in the police exercising its functions or its mandate, that's not true. This, and you can speak to your police on this. The government has a role in providing the police with resources and giving the police priorities in terms of the state security. in terms of operations, that is solely in the jurisdiction of your police to carry out those points. As Prime Minister, I have a duty both to the police and to the public. And there are times that I will speak to the police if the public is complaining about something and draw it to detention. And if the police is complaining about something, I also draw it to the public's attention. And so I have this delicate balance between the police and the citizens of Dominica. And I have said to the police that once you carry out your duties within the confines of the law, you have my full support, absolute support. And there's no Prime Minister who has provided the police with the kind of support I provided the police, and there's no Prime Minister that has taken a hands-off approach from the engaging in directing the police on operational matters. I don't get involved in those things. But we have to ensure that both the police and the citizens can coexist in a peaceful atmosphere of shared responsibility for security. And I think we have to ensure that at all material times we maintain that very important relationship and shared responsibility, because the police alone cannot guarantee our security. Neither can the citizens alone guarantee our security. We all have to work together, as fighting crime and maintaining law and order is a shared societal responsibility. But the police has my confidence as long as they carry the duties within the confines of the law of the country and the constitutional rights of people. The other one, the changes, yes, from time to time, you will have PSs being transferred from one ministry to the other. This is not news. This is administrative in nature. Yes, the PS of Tourism has been transferred to the Ministry of the Environment, and Mr. Lestrade, who is the Director of the Financial Services Unit, will now act Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, effective September 1. And just for information, there will be more transfers or shifting or whatever you want to call it of permanent secretaries, so that the citizens can benefit from the experience and the knowledge of the various permanent secretaries, and to see whether you can place them in better positions to better provide and contribute to the overall development of the country. So this is a normal occurrence within the public service. Yes, I think. Okay. Yeah. Well, please go ahead, Curtis. We can go ahead, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Prime Minister, good afternoon, and good afternoon to everyone here this afternoon. Grenada recently suffered a major diplomatic blow when the United States took a decision to at least impose visa restrictions on government officials in Grenada and their members of their families. What is the OACS position on that very important matter? And a little while ago, you spoke about permanent secretaries being moved across ministries. Is that a precursor to a cabinet reshuffle that you have mentioned in the past? And what is the very latest on this cabinet reshuffle that you've mentioned? And Prime Minister, where is the parliamentary representative for Roseau North? A few people have asked me, can you at least shed some light on Miss Blanchard and when she's expected to take up duties in Dominica? Thank you very much. I'll be back in a while.
In respect to Grenada, as far as I know, the revocation of visas is only on one member of the government and his family, and not government officials, as was previously circulated in the news. We continue to engage the United States jointly. All of the OECS countries, our ambassadors meet with the United States State Department officials on a fortnightly, almost a weekly basis, to discuss issues of mutual interest and mutual concern. We continue to engage on a number of issues on the Citizen Investment Program, on migration, on security. So we continue to engage on those. From Dominica's standpoint, we would have preferred there not have been any action against the government of Grenada or any government official by the United States. And we do hope and urge the United States to reconsider its position where Grenada is concerned. Let us continue to work together so that we can all live together in peace, and prosperity. So we look forward to that, and it's a continued engagement. Contrary to what people think, there's no animosity between ourselves in the OECS and the United States. The United States has some particular concerns, and we're working with them on those, and we have some concerns, and we're working with them on those. So it's a matter of continuous engagement, but the good thing is that the OECS has access to the U.S. government. We are engaging at all levels, whether it is at the embassy level. The folks there have been very, very helpful. I mean, at the State Department, at the Treasury, so at different levels that we engage in and working together on a number of issues. So the relationship is good. We just have to continue to engage in dialogue so that whatever clarification that are required from time to time, then we can provide that to them, and we can move on together and to work on some other very crucial issues confronting the world and confronting the Caribbean. The issue of cabinet reshuffle, yes, it is still on, and it will happen at some point. And so we look forward to that at some point. Yeah. The Rosenhoff Parliament, as I said before, the Rosenhoff Parliament has had some health issues, particularly for as Prime Minister, it is my duty to be concerned about the welfare and well-being of members of Parliament and members of my cabinet. And I have, as a matter of fact, I am the one who directed her because she was not willing to go to seek medical attention and to get to see whether she can recover from the challenge that she's confronted. She has my absolute full support in her efforts. I continue to speak to her on a daily basis and to encourage her. And I would just ask for everybody to look at the human being, because politicians are human beings. Shakespeare who asked his prosecutors, if you cut me, do I not bleed? The merchant of Venice, I'm Shylock. So we continue to support, and I ask every one of us to pray for her and pray for her recovery. Being a member of Parliament in these days, is a dangerous place to be. Sometimes, but she'll return at an appropriate time when I believe that she as a human being, that she's in a good position. But we continue to provide oversight to the Rosenhoff constituency and to ensure that the residents of Rosenhoff are provided for. So we have back to school supplies; they are part of that, and the other issues confronting them that we continue to work. And I look forward to even strengthening the support systems for the Rosenhoff constituency, so that the residents of Rosenhoff the issues can be addressed and in a timely and respectful manner.
Recently in St. Lucia, a bill was passed, the CARICOM Arrest Warrant Treaty, which became law in St. Lucia. How will that affect Dominica, this latest?
We took some time ago. We recognize that if we were to help fight regional crime, that there must be greater collaboration, not only at the functional level, but also at the legal level, and in the institutional level. And we recognize that sometimes you have a situation where a citizen from Dominica may commit a crime and flee to St. Lucia, and there's great difficulty in getting that person back into Dominica. And so that treaty, we recognize within CARICOM and advise that if properly implemented, would help improve the collaboration and the cooperation that we need to help fight regional crime. And so Dominica fully supports this arrest warrant treaty. Is it we've fulfilled all obligations, or we have outstanding matters?
Regarding the
Yeah,
report?
yeah.
No, I think really we're pretty much close to the point of being able to.
So hopefully before the end of the year, we would also follow suit on this. So we fully support this matter.
Harmonize
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So it will certainly assist us, and not harm us. So if you to ask me the question, yeah.
Okay, can you give us an update on the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, PM? And you mentioned about Miss Lauren Barnes Roberts. I know some time ago there may have been some issues when her appointment was revoked. Was everything done in terms of investigations? I think you said at that time that there would be investigations, and what would have been the outcome of the investigations, and when will she officially take up her appointment?
Windsor Park, work is ongoing. Of course, the Ministry of Sports can give you a more detailed report on this, but work is ongoing. I am hoping that they're keeping to the schedule of getting the lights up for Independence and for Creole Festival. I recognize that they're working 8 to 4. I'm not sure why they're working 8 to 4 and why they're not working at night and why they're not working on a Saturday. And to get the work done. That there must be greater diligence from my observation and to ensure that I will not be happy if the lights are not on come Independence. I don't think the country will be happy either. So the Ministry of Sports, I'm sure they're listening, and all concerned will take note and ensure that they get the job done. And so that's my hope. Okay. The issue with Mrs. Barnes Roberts, as I said in my statement, and there was nothing. She didn't do anything illegal. At the time, we felt that it should not have happened at the time. But time passes by, life goes on, and we have to move on, and then we have to utilize the skills and talents of everyone concerned. And you can say what you want about Lauren Barnes Roberts, but she has some talents and she has some skills. And as Prime Minister, I believe that I should have her at the disposal of the country in assisting the country in advancing its national interests. And she has my full confidence in that post. She has taken up duty. I believe she'll travel to the United Kingdom in the next few days and hope that she can present her credentials whenever His Majesty the King gives that appointment. But so she has been contracted. It's a matter of now presenting the credentials. Her Excellency, the President of Dominica, gave her the credentials to transmit to His Majesty the King, and the process will be finalized once His Majesty the King would have received the credentials from Her Excellency, the President of Dominica. And so that's it.
Yeah, I think, Prime Minister, the concern has been ready with regards to Lauren Barnes Roberts. It was said in 2022 that she exercised a severe lapse in judgment when she signed documents with Syria for Dominica to establish relations with Syria. I think that's where the concern was at the time. And the question is, if she were to exercise a serious lapse in judgment at that level, the question is, can she be called on in just under 4 years, to take up a similar position? So that is really where the concern was.
Your question, and I would say that this is not an impediment to advancing her engagement. As I said, it wasn't something that she did that was illegal or anything like that of that nature. As I said then, and I'll say now, that I would have preferred that action had not been taken then. You understand? But that is not something to banish somebody eternally. At some point, we have to move on, and we all have to move on, and recognize that the country needs all of us at its disposal to do what we have to do for the country, and let us move on. I do not think that any one of us is of no sin, and so, we have to move on, and as Prime Minister, I've moved on, and I have looked beyond that and look at the greater interests of the country, and put Lauren to work.
What about relations with? Yeah, I know that was where the problem.
Separate issue. It's a separate issue, and it's a new world situation, a new circumstance in Syria. We maintain relations with all countries. We have relations with most countries, and at different levels and different levels of engagement. But certainly, Syria is an important country in the global architecture, and we will certainly engage Syria at all levels. We did not like what was happening at the time, for obvious reasons, which I don't want to litigate now, that we're all aware of. But certainly we will look towards establishing relations with Syria and ensuring that the new order in Syria can usher in a better way of life for all the Syrian people.
Prime Minister, has there been an investigation into the roof collapse at the Dominica Grammar School? It appears that the Ministry of Education is saying that they intend to have school reopen by the 8th of September. I know that there was an announcement about the collapse of the roof and an impending investigation. Can you tell us whether that investigation in fact took place?
The investigation has been done at different levels. It was done by our local engineers, and also we engaged a structural engineer from St. Lucia who came to Dominic and spent a few days there and did assessments. Obviously, these things require very meticulous considerations. There are things that one can look at the naked eye and say, well, this is what happened, but as far as science is concerned, you have to do further tests and to advise yourself from a scientific standpoint what may have caused the roof to collapse. And so that final report is not with us yet. I haven't seen it. It's not with us yet, and we await this. But just to say to the public that under no circumstances will students have access to this building. The auditorium is a building on its own, set aside from the rest of the school, and the buildings that will house the students and teachers and staff. And for school in September, that building will be cut off, so there'll be no access by the students, by the teachers, and by users of the grammar school compound. And so this will be safe, and the auditorium will be constructed, taking into consideration the report that will be provided and the redesign of the building. From my naked eyes, I believe that the walls need to be broken down, demolished, and maybe rebuilt from foundation. That's from my naked eyes. But rest assured that appropriate measures will be taken to ensure that no student has access to this building. As a matter of fact, I have asked on my return that instruction be given to have the walls demolished so that there's no chance of anything happening to any student, any teacher, anybody who uses the grammar school. Even if we don't break it down, there will not be any challenge because you'll be caught enough. But just to give parents and teachers the further peace of mind that all of the appropriate actions are taken by the government to ensure and assure them of their security and safety. In respect to the rest of the building, the ministry is working with the contractors to ensure that they can push to have everything in place for the start of school in September 8th. There was a site visit yesterday by the ministry and other government officials along with the contractors and developers to assess where we are, what is outstanding, and what needs to be done to ensure that we get school up and going by September 8th. Now, when you build a new facility and you have to move in, there'll always be teething issues. And so you may say you start school in September 8th, but you'll have some movements where you may delay in some classrooms because this is missing and that, so they're really pushing, all fairness to them, but hoping that with barring any unforeseen challenges, they should push. I'm hoping that they could bring some floodlights and work at night. So that's a matter they should consider, rather than packing your tools at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you have a deadline to reach. So I'm sure they're listening to me, and I'm hoping that from tomorrow they could start. And I don't think the Lord would be unkind to them if they work on Sundays and Saturdays, because if your ass fall in the well, on Sabbath and you have to get it off, then you may have to do that. I think these are your questions, right?
I want to ask you another question.
Yeah.
The lyrical content of the Bouyon music in Dominica. What do you think? And that question is in light of allegations that an entertainer was taken in for questioning yesterday. What do you think about the lyrics that you hear from the Bouyon artists in Dominica?
My personal views as a citizen of the country or as Prime Minister, it's not for me. I think it's a matter for the society, because as you know, in Dominica we can be very strange. Sometimes we support something, and depending where the government stands, we go against it, and the government's in tomorrow. So we play a lot of political football on issues. I'm not in. For me personally, I'm not in the business of censoring. I'm not in the business of censoring. I recall when this Bouyon Nasty Business just came out. People were calling for us to ban the songs and not engage them, and et cetera. But I looked at it differently. I saw this as an opportunity for many young men who may not have an opportunity otherwise to be on the safe and narrow. And I think it is left to us to engage them and to assist them in developing the art form to a level and to a content that is pleasing to everybody's ears. But not to speak about banning or censoring. I think it's a matter for us to guide, because it's an opportunity for guys. We did not want them to play on Creole Festival while they played in France and Germany, which made no sense to me as Prime Minister. This is why I intervened and placed them on Creole Festival. And they went and they gave the best performance for the entire 3 nights of the festival. And so we have to always put people we always have to put ourselves in people's shoes, and not sit on a high and pontificate and say this about people and that people. I could be one of these boys, and how would I want to be treated if I was one of them? You understand? And so I look at life not from my selfish perspective, but from that person's perspective and that person's circumstance in life. And then I place myself in that person's shoes and ask, how would I want to be treated? And so while we would want the artists to stay away from using filthy language and words and so on, but banning and censoring should not be our main preoccupation.
Or arresting.
I'm not going to get involved in arresting. I'm not sure why the person was arrested, on what circumstance the person was arrested, and that's not for me to make a determination on. That's for the police and the director of public prosecution. So I don't get involved in those matters. I'm only speaking about the art form and the content and the lyrical content of songs, and how do we as a society treat those songs and those opportunities. But it's interesting that sometimes, we would have time today for me to share my extended views on these issues, but I believe that we need to encourage these youngsters and to support them and to make sure that they use their money properly to uplift themselves, because when you're in this business, you can be on a high for a couple of years and then you go on a low for a long time, and that you have to invest your money wisely, so that when you go on a low, that then the high days can help you in the low days. And so this is how I see it. And so let's support the guys and the girls. I see a young lady is now featuring. What's her name? I think she's a Fabia. What's this? Huh? Who was the young lady for Baffert State? Grand Bay, from Grand Bay singing. You guys too old there. You guys. That's, I think it's Donny Fabian's daughter, who is featuring now in the bouillon circles, and now taking the US by storm. Yeah.
Prime Minister, the Dominica Calypso Association has written to the Office of the Prime Minister and the Discover Dominica Authority. I don't know if you seem like you've not received that letter. Right, asking for them to have a presence at the World Creole Music Festival. So now you highlighted the bouillon artists and so on. Is there a place for calypso music at the festival this year?
I don't know. I mean, I think they've selected the bands and so on, but I mean that's a matter for the. I leave it to the festival commissions to determine. But your mere reaction to the question may have answered your own question on this matter. But so another time I'll give my views on this. But that's a matter for the festival commissions.
We spoke about new buildings, and lots of them coming up, and one which has catch our attention is the one on the south. There's a new hotel which is expected to be opened very, very soon, October. But there is some underlying issues there as it relates to some smell, which is, I mean, I walk in the morning. No, this is serious. I walk in the morning, and when you hit Loubier, you smell that. So if you're about to open in October, how are you going to deal with that smell? And you're expecting to have visitors and other persons in there. What will the government, or what does the government intend to do to assist? Because, I mean, this is a major hotel on the island. So, I mean, this is of grave concern to, yes.
The issue of the hotel and so on, and we look forward to the hotel opening. I think it's going to add tremendous value to the quality of our rooms in Dominica and the number of rooms that we need in Dominica, because as you see, our visitor numbers are growing. Look, we have this direct flight now from St. Thomas, and we're expanding, and of course with the advent of the international airport, you will see us taking off literally, and so it's important on the issue of the. And of course, this hotel has been financed under the Cities by Investment Program by a local Dominican, and all this has been a deliberate attempt by the government to empower local Dominicans to be part of the engine of growth and job creation in Dominica, and to build local capacity and local successful people. But on this issue, and this is a matter for the Environmental Health Department to look at and to see what environmental challenges this place is posing to the health and well-being of everyone. And so I'm sure that they will look at this matter and determine what needs to be done with regards to that.
My final question. Someone just saying that, please ask the Prime Minister about the cabinet-approved salary for the doctors at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital, which the Prime Minister said that on August 6th, there would be an approval for an increase in salary for doctors at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital.
So what we've done, as you know, I was out. I came back on the weekend, and so. But yesterday on Tuesday in cabinet, we approved some 26 positions for specialists, various specialist positions in the Ministry of Health. I believe we will immediately appoint about 11 of those people, the 11 people who will appoint immediately into those positions who are on contracts or who are on temporary engagements, and the additional is open to be filled, and so the Ministry of Health will be in a position to recruit additional personnel to provide care to our citizens, and this is a major step forward, and I believe that it will help address some of the concerns that the doctors have in terms of their tenure, in terms of their recognition, and also give the Ministry of Health the opportunity to recruit additional medical personnel. Now, on the issue of salaries, what we're seeking to do is to improve the package that doctors receive in Dominica at all levels, and to allow them to be more comfortable with the pay that they're receiving. That will be commensurate with their task. The other thing that we want to do is to get more of those doctors, especially the specialist doctors, to be at the complete disposal of the public health system. Because one of the challenges you have at the hospital, which is a challenge that you have the world over, so in Dominica, unique circumstance, and therefore I'm not criticizing the doctors at all. I'm just stating a fact and how we're trying to overcome that challenge. That all of the specialists at the hospital are also engaged in private practice. You understand? And so you always will have a challenge if you do not have doctors who are there 24/7 to the public healthcare system. And so what we're seeking to do is to provide better terms for those who would opt not to go into private practice, but commit themselves wholly and fully to the public health system, so that you would see people paying less for surgery, less for the delivery of a baby, less for care, because that person there would be no need for that person to engage a private consultant to provide a surgery to them. So if you take orthopedic or there we have about 3, but all are engaged in private practice. If we get one to give us 5 surgeries every week in the public system, then that would certainly reduce on the cost of to the patient and of course to the government itself. And so these are the kind of things that we're seeking to do to help address some of the concerns which the public has raised in respect to the care that they receive at the hospital. And so I'm hoping that next week that we can get this paper so that we can approve of those new terms for the doctors and so forth. I think some of what may have been recommended was a little bit too low, and so it needs to be increased a bit so that we appear not to be giving any token, but seeking to address the matter frontally and seriously. And so if we're going to make a change, I think the change has to be sensible and respectful to the medical professionals.
Government has said that they will put in place a music awards for 2025. PM, we've not heard too much on it, but is that still on? Is that still on, the music awards that the government has mentioned? And I want to talk a little about Stephen Pascal and Arsenio Fontaine, 2 young, impressive Dominican batsmen. Stephen Pascal having captained the West Indies under-19 team at the Youth World Cup in South Africa, and Arsenio Fontaine just been called by the West Indies under-19 team. 2 young Dominicans. But the question is, Prime Minister, how do we keep these players playing for a long period of time? Because a lot of times we hear many young players come to the fore and then later on we don't hear anything about them. Is there something the government can do to keep these players together? I mentioned the 2, Stephen Pascal and Arsenio Fontaine. There may be more, but is there a program that the government can put in place or sports division to ensure that these players play for a lengthy period?
You know, I mean, we have been providing support to athletes, cricketers included, in terms of financial support and addressing their social and domestic circumstance to ensure that they do not have those things affecting them in the formative years of the engagement by the West Indies Cricket Board. And so we've been doing that, and we will certainly will be doing that for these two cricketers. But it's also left to them to ensure that they be disciplined, and they continue to be disciplined, and they continue to take advice from the coaches, and to ensure that that they perform and stay on the team. But insofar as ensuring that we provide whatever material support to them and emotional and psychological support, then certainly we'll provide that, and I'm sure that the Ministry of Sports will meet with them and to engage them and to ensure that, like we've done for Afanaz and for Kavim Hodge, we will certainly do for them, and to encourage them to move on to higher heights. Okay. The Music Awards, yes, I'm a little bit disappointed that we have not done much in terms of advancing it. I believe that it will be a great opportunity for our country to have its own music awards, because we have so much talent there that we need to recognize and commend and congratulate and to celebrate. And I'm hoping that the relevant ministries can get their act together and to engage persons like Ambassador Wadix Charles to put a framework in place and a structure in place towards setting up this music festival, and let it be a real music festival, music awards, and let it serve as an encouragement to up and coming artists in Dominica. So I look forward to those ministries concerned getting together and really putting things in place for us to host this event, which will become a yearly event. Because one of the things I believe, Curtis, is that we don't celebrate people enough in our country, you know, and their successes. You know, we spend more time with a microscope looking for people's faults and shortcomings, and we celebrate those rather than celebrating people's success. And so we have to try to ward ourselves off of the inherent envy and jealousy, which we seem to be carrying around, and to really look at the positive side of life and supporting people and encouraging people, being positive and constructive, celebrating successes, and so forth. So that's the only way we're going to impart a culture of excellence in our children and succeeding generations. If they see that there's a positive attitude in our society, that we're celebrating people who are successful, we celebrate people who have done well, we're giving them the kudos while they're alive, we give them the flowers while they're alive, then, I should do that myself too, and so I can get this thing. Because if negative reinforcement is what we always give, then people will do negative things to get that recognition. But we have to go more on the positive side of things, and so that people can do positive things. The whole notion that you think positively, you will do positive things, then that is what we have to be in our society, and so that we all can enjoy whatever the Lord has given to us to enjoy. But you know, I find sometimes in Dominica we focus too much on the negative, and you know, the Lord gave us the internet and social platforms, and to promote the good that we're supposed to be doing, and to network in a constructive way, and to get business and to do things. But we use it as what do we use it as? You know, I mean.
I know we've run out of time, but
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a last one. It has to do with a new minimum wage for Dominica. This young lady I met at the supermarket this morning, and this farmer I met earlier on yesterday, they're asking about a minimum wage. Can you update us, please, sir?
Honorable Minister of Finance announced in his budget address, the government has appointed the advisory board. So this advisory board is in place. The Minister of Acting Minister for Labour, Honorable Pinard, reported to the cabinet that he met with the board a couple of weeks ago, and the board is doing its work. The mandate is that a report should come to us in September, so that a new minimum wage should take effect in Dominica in October 1. So we're hoping that they can do their work diligently and judiciously, and to provide the minister with advice on what they believe would be a fair rate for minimum wage in Dominica, various categories of workers. And because the mandate by the Parliament is for us to give effect to a minimum wage October 1, 2025. And so we look forward to that because clearly it is only the Parliament that can give an increase. Other workers can have negotiations with the union. So you had public service union negotiating with the government. So that's how you get your stuff. And police welfare negotiating with the government, its employer. The port workers will negotiate. The union will negotiate with DASPA. So it's only minimum wage that is really controlled by law. And therefore, it's important for us to ensure that that we pay attention to this. This is why, when we last increased the minimum wage in 2021, we indicated that every 3 years we'd have a review to take into consideration the every 3-year review that the public service is having with its employees. So this is what we're doing, and we look forward to that report in September, so it could take effect. October 1. I'm sure the young lady is listening, and I too look forward to she getting a better pay come October 1. So I want to thank you, the press, for your very insightful and provocative questions today. But we look forward to working with you. This is our country. Please be reminded that we are in the hurricane season. Let us not take things for granted. We're keeping our fingers crossed while we continue to pray that we're not affected by any natural disaster. We cannot afford it. The world cannot afford it. And it's important for us to take action. If the drain is blocked in front of our yard, we must not wait for the NEP. We should go out and clean it. If a tree is a hazard, let us prune it ourselves. We can't call the government for that. That's for us to do for ourselves. And to ensure that we reach out to our neighbors, especially the sick and shut-in, the physically challenged, the senior citizens, so that not only you are safe, but everybody in the country, in your community, is safe. And that's what we can do. Because if someone in your community is not safe, then you're not safe. We have to ensure that everybody is safe and everybody can be accounted for as we go through this hurricane season. So far, the Lord has spared us. We continue to pray for that, but we must not be like the foolish virgins. We must have enough oil in our lamp, and we must be prepared for any eventuality. Thank you very much, and may God bless our efforts. And anything you hear from me today, or you go home, let us be positive. There's too much negative around, There's so much work to do and so many things to deal with. God gave us a talent, each of us a talent. We must examine ourselves and determine what is our talent. Certainly not to be negative. So let's be positive and constructive and support each other and as we go through the world's challenge. The world is too difficult now. The world is rough, very, very difficult. And it requires us to work diligently together. Whatever differences we have, that's secondary to the challenges that the world is putting at us today. And that's my major preoccupation, how difficult the world is today. And ensuring that we can navigate those challenges and so that we can be in a position to always provide for our people and that our people can live peaceable lives and we can all live in a place of security and hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you very much to everyone who joined us here in person and those of you who listen live. Have a good afternoon.